The Konkala Pass is a unique area situated between India's southwest and China's northeastern border. The low-ridge pass of the Himalayas, Konkala, is a place where both Indian and Chinese military headed a skirmish against one another in 1959. Until October 1959, China had not declared where its borders fell and where the Indian border began, claiming to have not had time to prepare their own maps. Whilst maintaining this position, the Chinese laid Sian King Tibet Road through Askai Chin and detained an Indian patrol party that was sent to investigate it. This was the beginning of tensions between the two countries who shared the region and ultimately led into the Sino-Indian War of 1962. The area is one of the least accessed areas in the world, and by agreement, the two countries do not patrol this part of the border. According to tourists of Konkala, Buddhist monks, and the local people of Ladakh, the Indian Army and Chinese military maintain the line of control. But there have been many reports from citizens of both Chinese and Indian that there may be something unusual bordering on bizarre taking place at this shared region. UFOs are regularly seen coming out of the ground, and furthermore, they state that both the Chinese and Indian governments are well aware of what is happening in Konkala. Hindu pilgrims on their way to Mount Kailash from the Western Pass came across strange lights in the sky. Meanwhile, local guides in the Chinese territory stated that this is far from anything new, even going as far to say that the phenomena is a normal occurrence. Reports vary from strange crafts, triangular in shape and completely silent, showing up from what appears to be an underground base of some sort and moving upwards vertically. Interestingly, when tourists asked to look into the site, they were refused by the Chinese guards and turned back on their path. Undeterred, and in spite of having a permit, which allows for travel between the two countries, they attempted to approach Konkala from the Indian side, only to have the Indian Border Patrol turn them back, and, again, not allowing access to the area at all. It is widely thought, from opinions of those who live in this area, that the governments on either side are doing their utmost to keep the secret that lies underground a tightly wrapped secret. When the mysterious lights and suspected UFO activity is brought to local governments, they are told to keep quiet and forget what they've seen. A curious fact, considering it is ever increasingly difficult to keep anything a secret, let alone an alleged UFO base. Situated at an altitude of 16,470 feet, Rupkund Lake in the Uttarakhand state of India has a mystery surrounding it which is yet to be solved. Hundreds of human bones are scattered across the shores of the lake, roughly estimated to be that of approximately 800 people. Both male and female remains were determined to be present, as well as a mixture in age. A study published in the Nature Communications Journal has tried to uncover what happened at Rupkund Lake, but this has proven to only deepen the mystery, with more questions than answers being raised. In the early 2000s, preliminary DNA studies suggested that the people who died at Rupkund were of South Asian ancestry. Carbon dating from around the site cluster at 800 AD, making it highly likely that they all died in a single event, or at least appearing to be the case. However, full genomic analysis from 38 sets of skeletal remains has turned this theory on its head, bringing another layer of mystery to the lake. The new results show that 23 of the 38 remains used were that of South Asian ancestry, but that they died during one or several events that took place between the 7th and 10th centuries AD. The remaining Rupkund skeletons contain another group of 14 victims who died around 1,000 years later. The investigative analysis concluded that this was also likely from a single event. This later group were discovered to be of Mediterranean heritage, from Greece and Crete to be precise. Further tests brought to light that none of the individuals were related, and additional isotopic studies confirmed that they even had different diets. Study co-author and archaeologist Neeraj Rai of the Birbal Sahni Institute of Paleosciences in Lucknow, India, says that we have tried all possible sources of genetic ancestries of the Rupkund skeletons, but failed to answer why Mediterranean people were travelling to this lake and what they were doing here. The strangeness of the lake has been noted to unnerve even professionals who are accustomed to dealing with trying to solve scenes involving the long deceased at archaeological sites. In the 1950s, one explorer described the site as a ghastly scene that made us all catch our breath. For decades, many scholars have tried to figure out who the bones belonged to and what their purpose for being at the lake was. Problematically, rock slides, migrating ice, and human visitors disturbing the site have only made it more difficult to decipher when and how the individuals were buried, much less who they were. Their deaths remain as elusive as the answers to the questions. No weapons or signs of combat violence have been found. More confusingly, the victims were also healthy at the time of death, ruling out any kind of epidemic, disease, or known illnesses. As of today, if there are accounts of who, when, hows, and whys, they haven't been uncovered. With Dr. Rai noting that we have searched all the archives, but no such records were found. If the truth of Rupkund will come to light anytime soon, it's anyone's guess, but it definitely leaves a lot for possibility. With the world under the grip of superstitious apocalyptic predictions and an end-of-the-world rumour stemming from Mayan prophecy, it was reported that as many as 1 in 10 people felt real anxiety that the prediction would come to pass. So on Tuesday, 18th of December 2012, what began as just another normal day in Jodhpur, India, ended with many fearing that the boom that resembled a massive explosion was in fact the bell toll of impending doom. Jolted and startled, scared residents believed that their city, situated in Rajasthan, northern India, was under attack. The panic spread quickly, believing this was the beginning of a countdown to December 21st, 2012, the alleged official date of the Mayan calendar for ending the human race and the planet as we know it. It was soon rationalized to being that of the Indian Air Force using a craft to break the sound barrier, with the people of Jodhpur being the unfortunate citizens in the aircraft's path. Others floated the theory that a nearby army ammunition depot had gone up in smoke. However, the defense establishment later denied claims of being the source of the sonic boom or any other such explosion. According to the online Indian newspaper Telangana Today, officials have ruled that sonic boom tests and the like are not permitted to take place over township areas. This kind of activity could lead to structural damage and destruction of property. Stranger still is the amount of similar booms heard across many countries worldwide, some reporting that they'd seen the boom accompanied by a green light. The booms seemingly taking place out of thin air have many theories to explain away their origin, though the fact remains that no one could come up with a valid explanation or take credit for causing the ear-splitting sounds, let alone the sheer amount heard around the globe, many being caught on camera. Whilst the booms clearly didn't bring about the end of time, there is so obviously something going on or being tested, but none of the worldwide governments have made an official statement stating what, and leaving us all wondering and asking questions that aren't likely to be answered.